Hmm. Hmm. Let's see here. Perfect. There you go. Okay. Hello, everybody. Hi, I'm Dr. Farid Zarif, and we get off to a little, just doing a little too many things. It's wonderful to do a multitasking. This is wonderful. I am so happy to report to you that I really enjoy your responses, your comments, and please do that this round also. Now, this is part 3. We have one more part to go, and we're talking about nutrition like you've never heard it before. And I really appreciate that you're taking time out to join us here on AAECF Inc. channel right here at YouTube. It's really a wonderful thing, isn't it, to talk about something that's been around ever since we've been around, because that is what keeps us around, sustaining our lives. So thank you so much for that. Again, spread the news, W or instead of saying WA, so it is actually a double A, but AA. You get that W and that A. Did you say W? Well, so it's AAECF Inc. channel on YouTube. And remember, next Friday, we'll be here at 4 p.m. and that is Pacific Standard Time, and 7 p.m. that is Eastern Standard, and Central Time is, let me get this right, Central Time is 6 p.m. I think it's some, but check your listings. This is really wonderful, everybody, that we get a chance to talk about some of the things that we're all affected by. So, in changing the narrative, that is the title, that's the subject today, and changing the narrative of the way that we eat, the way that we define nutrition. All of these things are super important. Well, let's start off with where we are so that we can get a good idea of where we need to go. Right now, we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, how in the world did we get breakfast, lunch, and dinner? We just born and the world already had it in place, or would somebody make it up, or well, what's going on with that? Well, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, ladies and gentlemen, of course we have to eat, but most of what we eat or how we eat has so much to do with when we eat. When we eat really tells us a lot about our working system. Our breakfast, we eat that's designed to have enough energy to get up and work, and to work until 12 noon. This is the average schedule. And from 12, you eat a meal to take you all the way home, not to necessarily be full, but just enough for you to make it through that 8 or 10 hour or more workday. Now, these schedules were made up by people that work in the farms, people that are employers. So many of us that eat a certain way, we're eating that way because we've been employees. And of course, we have to take care of our families, put food on the table. So we also had to follow suit. In other words, follow that system, get with it or be without it. So the breakfast is a really wonderful meal that gets you started. Is it absolutely necessary? It is absolutely necessary. And when we talk about food, we're talking about the balancing of energy. Energy, not the energy drink, energy meaning the way that we feel, having the endurance to meet a challenge that may be a physical challenge, but you can also exhaust yourself mentally. But in any case, energy is the resolution for that. Resolution also includes sleeping, getting enough rest, exercising properly. All of those things are right there when we talk about breakfast. Now, in balance, when we talk about the largest meal of the day, we talk about dinner. Now, dinner is usually the meal that you eat at the end of the day, but we're going to put your largest meal during your lunchtime in the middle of your day, okay? I'm not going to go through all of the different, I'll give you an idea. And as you continue to visit us here on AAECF Inc. channel, this is the channel where we're going to help you to connect with things that will help to keep you healthier. Now, we're talking about dinner, which is the largest meal of the day. Well, dinner is for the purpose of a few things. One thing, it ends the time that we're taking in the protein dominant foods, and it discontinues the time that we're eating fruit. So let's give an example. For 6 o'clock to 6 o'clock, let me see if I can, I'm going to do this right fast. And we are in, isn't this a wonderful day for technology? This is beautiful. So we're going to close that. Just bear with me just for a moment. I'm going to I can actually look for it over here. I want to give you a chart and let you read that chart with me. And this way you'll have a really good idea of what I'm talking about when I get to the times, because it can get pretty confusing if you're not looking at something. So in a few seconds, I should have something up here. Okay, here we are. So I'm going to get this up here. And I'm going to bring this chart up here so that you can see it. As a matter of fact, I'll have this for those of you that want a copy of it. I can actually send it to you. But for right now, let's get here. Okay. Sometimes you have these days that are really kind of, it keeps you on your toes. You know what I mean? And I have had one of those beautiful keep me on my toe days. And I'm loving it. So here I'm going to go to a share screen right now. I'm going to bring this up, everyone, and then I'm going to share it. Okay. So let's fill this up. There you go. Now we're talking about let me take that off. We're talking about exactly, what we are talking about are the proper times to eat. Okay. So what we have here is, there's a word here, acceleration, that is, they spelled that incorrectly and made a mistake when they were printing these out. So excuse that. However, if you can get past that, we can get past the rest. The very first thing that we want to do in your first meal, can you see this, everybody? This is so wonderful. Take notes, write this down, because nowhere else will you get this kind of knowledge when it comes to what should I eat, when should I eat, and how much should I eat? Okay, up here in the right-hand corner, you see something, a little square block, and it says the catabolic schedule. Now, the catabolic schedule just simply means this is the time in which we use food, the food that we eat breaks down for the main purpose of energy. Okay. And there's another word that you're probably used to, and that is anabolic. Now, anabolic is the second 12-hour period in our 24-hour day, and this is for resting. So we don't work all the way through that. The body properly and ideally rest. So when we talk about waking up in the morning, the first hour, now, why are we calling it the first hour instead of 9 a.m. or 6 a.m. or 7 or whatever? Well, because everybody isn't on the same schedule. If we were all on the same schedule, well, this will make sense to everybody, right? Because we'll say, you know, we're all on the same schedule, so we can all follow the same time to eat. But it's not true. Suppose you wake up in the afternoon because you work through all the night. Suppose you are just leaving the home at 4 p.m. instead of getting home at 4 p.m. So there are a lot of variables here. When it comes to eating on time, when it comes to eating the right time, the right food, we start with the very first meal, which is to detox and energize. And you see my arrow circling that very first hour. And this is for predominantly fruit and water. So most of what you'll be eating is just fruit and water, no bacon and eggs and toast and danishes, and along with the Danish, you would be drinking coffee or orange juice and those kinds of things. No, we don't want to do that. Why? Because it's not the proper time, and you can't get the most efficient use out of foods this early in the morning, because we are we're not only guarding, but we're harmonizing our bodies, which is a homeostatic. We want to put this body in homeostasis, which means internal balance. Okay. Don't get hung up on the big words. Just know that that word means equilibrium or balance. Okay. So homeostasis is what? Homeostasis in some dictionaries and in some professionals is the minimum it is to get the body functioning so that it can function at its minimal level. Well, I've redefined that. The homeostasis is, or should be, and it could be, for optimality, meaning that once you balance everything out as well as you can, you want to feel your optimal strength, your optimal energy, and you definitely want to look your optimal shape, and that is to be fit and have everything going for you because you're doing the things that'll keep you balanced. That makes more sense to me. You choose your life. I understand. So the first hour, again, we want to put, some people say, well, can you have a smoothie in the morning? Water and fruit. Hey, how about, can you have that? Water and fruit. Now, if you're in, let's say, Alaska, or you're in somewhere Sweden, or somewhere that's very cold and is usually has cold weather, then there's an exception to eat warm breakfast. But this does not, and I repeat, this does not include frying of meat, like, pork sausage or beef sausage or any kind of animal sausage, fish, any kind of seafood, none of that stuff, chicken, turkey, none of that stuff, no animal products. Well, you might say, this guy is pushing vegan stuff. I don't want to be a vegan. Well, no, you're absolutely right. It is your right to be a vegan, but it is very important that you know why you are eating, the purpose that you're eating the way that you're eating, and eating in a way that it actually reduces the risks of disease and illness. So keep that in mind. That's why we're eating the way that we eat, so that it'll definitely help us with our daily consumption of healthy foods and the type of the energy that we get from it. Now, after that first meal, we move over here. As you notice, the sun gets higher and higher, all the way to the zenith, right? So the third hour should be, the sun is up a little more. You want to have fruit and protein there. If you want to get more information, you can just simply go to my website, and you can get this information on executivelifediet.com, which is an excellent free information that you can get. There's a lot of information there that will help you get on the right track to eating the way that keeps you a healthy person. Okay, so that again is the third hour. We start eating more complex foods, the fruit and the protein. Now it's up to you whether or not you're eating animal protein or not. I don't suggest it because I don't eat it, but your decision should be made on this premise. If I do eat it, does it increase my chances for disease and illness, or does it decrease it? Ask yourself that, do your work, find out more information about what are you putting in your body, okay? All right, and now the fifth hour. Now this right here is, we call this energy acceleration. This is when we're eating more food, is breaking down, giving you more energy. So again, fruit and protein. Now this is weird, isn't it? Because you're like, wait a minute. Protein dominant foods are, we can eat chia, we can have beans, all types of legumes and lentils and peas. You know, there's wahani rice, there's black rice. There's a lot of things with this protein in it. And usually when you're thinking about it, you're thinking about things like sardines, you're thinking about poultry, you're thinking about meat. You're thinking about those because those are those things, because that's what we've been taught over the years. So we understand it. Just prepare yourself to be very challenged, because after all the many years that you've taken to eat a certain way, it's not going to take just overnight to get rid of those, okay? Makes sense? So be fair to yourself, little by little. There was a great, this wonderful pastor out here in California, and he used to say, inch by inch, anything is a cinch. And that is very true, just little by little. Don't take it all up in one gulp and just like, I got it. Okay, so now we're to the seventh hour. You see, this is the zenith, meaning the highest point of the day, the highest point of the sun. So this is when your body is most active. Now, during this time, you want to have your seventh hour meal, and you can combine it with the protein dominant, carbohydrate dominant foods, and we can combine those two. This is where you stop eating the cutoff for the fruit, and you know, there you have it. So this was a good idea of this would be, I'm going to give you a vegetarian or vegan example, and that is meat. I'm sorry, I said meat. Isn't that funny? Well, let's say if you do start off with meat, okay, so it doesn't sound like you know, I want to stay in the middle with this, the balance. If you are still eating meat, be sure to add vegetables, a lot of raw vegetables, because within those vegetables are enzymes, and those enzymes will help you tremendously with breaking down those foods. After all, digestion is the breaking down of foods into what? Absorbable nutrients that you can use to strengthen your body and to add energy to it. So let's move out of here from the seventh hour meal. Now we're almost to we're starting, the sun is starting to go down. And when the sun starts to go down, we should change the way that we eat. Why? Because our brain and our heart changes also. Our heart doesn't keep beating like this every day. That is called distress. Now, when you don't break up your day where you're resting, meditating, taking time for prayer, stretching, taking a nap, all of these are alternatives and wonderful things to add to your daily regimen to get the proper balance. When we get to our 10th hour meal, this is when we are not eating any fruit, and we're not eating any protein dominant food. So no animal foods here, absolutely. Whoever, if you are eating animal foods, they should not be. This is a bad place. Why is it unhealthy? Because you're about to go to sleep shortly. And if you're about to go to sleep shortly, you don't want to take all of that food to bed with you, do you? Nah. We don't want to do that. So remember, carbohydrates, meaning vegetables. You can have pasta, but small amounts, because pasta is it is impacted with the starches that break down to sugar, and the sugar gives you energy. And then you take all of that to bed with you. You're going to have parasomnia, or you're going to have the insomnia, and that means that you're not going to sleep a long time. Okay, it looks like that finger is going right in my ear. Huh? I'm looking at the background. All right, okay, let's move on to the smallest meal. The smallest meal, you eat this between the 12th and the 13th hour, and this is when you have your tea. You can have salads, steamed vegetables, hot cereal, soup, all of this in a very small meal. Why? Because we do not require that much energy in order to sleep. It's just a lot. Imagine you eating all of that food, and instead of, some of us are burping and the acid is coming all up and we can taste it in our mouths. And the reason that we can, because we ate too much for that time of the day. Now, here's the real spooky thing, is that when you eat that time, that large meal at that time, and you go to bed, you are not allowing your heart to rest. You are not allowing yourself any type of proper brain rest. The brain activity should rest also. And when it doesn't, and you do this year after year after year, then you can expect something may be gone awry, because the body has to rest. Some people say, I stay up, I don't need 3 hours. You'll find that no, you need more than 3 hours. If you're a man, you need 8 hours. If you're a woman, you need at least 6 hours. Okay, so it's really very, very important. So there you have it, everybody. I'm going to go back over with you this time, but I'm going to say at 6. So look at the catabolic schedule with me, 6 to 6. Okay, now we come down here. Let's choose 6. You can do this with all anytime you get up. So your first hour, say, is 6. So 6 o'clock is your first hour. Your third hour here is 2 hours later, right? So 6, 8 a.m., 10 a.m. Your largest meal would be at 12 p.m. You allow 3 hours after your largest meal because you want it to digest and break down. So you give it 1 more hour. So 3 hours after 12 would be 3 p.m. And then 2 hours after 3 p.m. is 5. So between 5 and 6 p.m., this is your largest meal. Therefore, at 6 p.m. is your cutoff. Now, if you should get a little ravenous, you want something to eat, and you know that stomach starts calling you, and the appetite and the cravings, well, the best thing to do is to get you some juice that you have freshly squeezed, like your celery juice, celery, carrot, and beet. Real simple one. Some people put a whole produce section in their drink. You can keep it simple because that's when it works very well for you. So keep that in mind, everybody. And this is how we actually should eat, and you'll get the best out of it. And as long as you continue to eat like that, you'll find that you really have the best effect. You have the best effect there. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can get out of this. All right, I don't know what's going on with that. Okay, we'll do a stop share if we can. And I think we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Good. So there you have it. We just went over the ways that you should eat. Then, and some of the benefits of eating that way, I'm going to talk about that during the second half coming up. So let's go over again why it's important. We want to make sure that we get the best energy. Look, you also can be very concerned with maybe the way that you appear. The way that we appear sometimes may not be something that we like. So what can you do about it? What you can do about it is simply change the way that you eat. In order to get change, you must change first, okay? Sounds easy enough, right? So that's why that is so important. I just wanted to go over a couple of things like legumes. That might be a word that you don't know. And legumes are beans. There are over 400 types of beans. And these are really, really important for you to know. There's a group of these legumes called pulses. And pulses are also different types of beans. Now, when we think about beans, beans is the staple or the main food that people that live on the earth the longest, they eat beans. All of them have it in common. So might be something in it when it comes to beans, right? For those of us that might say, nah, I'll pass on the beans. Well, it's really important that you know all of the good things that beans give you. It gives you a great supply of glucose. It gives you trace minerals. They give you vitamins, and they give you fiber. Fiber is super important to keep you regulated. And having a bowel movement that is regulated, meaning that you can look forward to that bowel movement practically the same time every day. And that, my friends, that is very important, because eating, what comes with eating is the evacuation of waste. And as long as you eat, there's going to be some waste. It's like, bringing all the food home from the grocery store, and we eat our meals and we pile up our garbage, right? That's waste. And we take the waste, and then of course we get rid of the waste. But as far as our bodies, we do the same thing. There's nobody that can escape this. It's just like there's everybody that's alive. There'll come a time that will be we will terminate. But in the meantime, it's all about living. It's about getting as much life as you can. Now, along with this, I want to add something to it. Let's talk about some of those numbers. Some of the numbers that are very, very important. Now, I'm just going to say these numbers so that first of all, let's look at blood pressure. Now, you don't have to know lub and dub, or you don't have to know where the aorta is and the superior vena cava is in order for you to take care of your heart. You can just simply take a pressure cuff, like a BP or a blood pressure cuff, and you take it, and it's very easy. It's electronic. You have battery run, and you need to take that every day if you possibly can, to give yourself an idea. I'm going to look back here and see if I can find one. Okay. There's usually one around in my office. Okay, I am going to, I know that looks weird. Okay. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to show you a blood pressure cuff. And I'm sure you've seen this before. See? Right here. And it's connected to this. Right there. It looks kind of weird here because we got the light right in it. But that's what I mean by this. You can get those at a CVS in your neighborhood or another local drugstore. You can also get those at the different pharmacies located in your different Walmart stores and other stores. It's very important. And you want to get about a 120 over 80, 120 over 80. The A1C or hemoglobin A1C is a test that you are given to get an idea of how much sugar or blood sugar, which is called glucose, how have you been managing the levels? What I suggest to my patients is a 7.4. Now, your PCP or your doctor may suggest something different, but we want to keep those numbers down low. The next test is called the glucometer. Now, glucometer is you can get a glucometer. Had these little toys around here in case I had to show. This comes in a little box like this. See that blood glucose, right? And you see the glucometer right here. You get a little pack like this. And again, remember see that little pack? You get that little pack there, and it has all of the instruments inside there, so you can actually take it. It has instructions here. You can go on YouTube to get more instructions, and this will help you tremendously with getting an idea where your body is as far as the numbers are concerned. And you want that to be something that you do on a daily basis, okay? So, all right, let's see here. I'm going to, okay. All right, good. Okay, so let's go ahead and move along. You also, lastly, see this right here? This is a thermometer. This is really good to keep with you so that you will make sure you don't have to wait until an epidemic to do one of these. Do this all the time. Know your healthy numbers. Okay. Now, okay, there's one more thing that I want to remind you of, and that is your weight. Make sure that you take your weights and your measurements. You don't want to be too heavy for your height. You don't want to be too heavy. Your height, meaning if you're short and you're weighing heavy, you should know those healthy numbers. Okay, since this is not the show that we're going to do that on, but I'm giving you the idea. And make sure that your scale is calibrated. That is, when it's lined up with that 0, that gives you a good idea of how accurate your count is going to be. All right, so now we're going to wrap it up for the first part of the show. Keep in mind, we're eating the times. What were the times? The times were the first hour, the third hour, the fifth hour, the seventh hour, the 10th hour, and the 12th hour. And remember, by the 13th hour, that is your cutoff time. And there you have it. You have a wonderful way to look at what you should be eating and when you should be eating it. Okay, I'm doing this to see if I can. There, I think we got it. Okay. I look like I got on a shirt from Michael Jackson or something right now. Okay, so anyway, we're going to keep going. I'm going to see if I can, I'm going to change, if I will, the background for the second half. Let's see if we can get something a little darker. Okay. All right. I don't know. So I'm going to change this. While we're talking about this, everybody, what I wanted to do is to remind everybody to find out more information. Go to on your online at AAECF.com or .org, and that's .org. That's AAECF.Inc.org. All right, check it out, and make sure that you stay in contact with us. We're doing many things of which can help many people. We're reaching out, and we have many professionals that represent us. And these are people that live and breathe their expertise, and they volunteer their time to do things that will bring to you informed decisions, or at least you'll have the tools to make informed decisions. Very, very important. And we love to give, we love to share, and we love it that you are sharing, getting more people to come and listen to us, to take away this wonderful education that we have so much fun in sharing with you. So remember, this is very important, because we sometimes we allow our school to get in the way of our education. And if you're one of those people that allow your school to get in the way of your education, this is the time to change your narrative. Right now, it's about 4:33, and we're going to continue with this wonderful presentation on changing the narrative of nutrition. Now, here we go. We're going to go in part 2. We want you to let's see if we can get a better change. That definitely looks. Hey, look, now my shirt looks like the background. So I'm going to move back a little bit. I'm just seeing if we can balance out that a little bit. It's weird. Sometimes it's just perfect, and other times it's perfect. All right. Okay, everybody. So this is on the second part. What I want you to do is this. I want you to take more notes. I want you to see if you can get more people in to share. Make sure that you subscribe, leave a comment, and make sure that you like us, because that means the world to us and lets us know that we're doing the right things to keep you involved and to keep you interested in the things that we're sharing with you. Okay, now we're talking about changing the narrative. Again, the narrative today are the things that people have been talking about for the last 100 years, over and over and over. Now, nutrition did not get so popular until the 1940s. Then people started looking into things more, different angles to start talking about particular products. One of the things was the cold frozen vegetables and Salisbury steak and mashed potatoes. Now, all of this came in the form of what was called TV dinners. They still have TV dinners today. And this, before this happened, the wife was expected to cook, and not only the wife, the female was expected to cook in the kitchen and serve the male or serve the family. Today, a lot of that have changed because women have liberated themselves from that type of expectation. And now women are very much working like men and challenging men to get paid as much as a man gets paid when he's doing the same work. And this is wonderful. Many women have fought and joined the women's suffrage organizations through the years. And that goes all the way back to almost 100 years. So women have been fighting for these rights for years. So eating is a really big thing, and for men and women. However, when it comes to women doing the same things or living the same lifestyle as men, guess what? The mortality rates have favored them for doing that. Yes, that means that women are dying faster since they have been standing up for these rights. Now, I'm not challenging the rights at all, but keep in mind that if you're working like a man, lifting and pushing, and like these are guys that are construction workers, guys that work very laborious jobs, carrying heavy materials and all that. Some women can handle some of that, but the very heavy items and things like women can be make great mechanics, incredible mothers. Nobody can take the place of women, they bake, chefs, all of that. I'm not even talking about that. I am talking about the decision to work as a man, as difficult as men work, and the heavy things. And, you know, some of the, even today, the athletics where a lot of women are playing basketball, football, rugby, all of those things, you know, I don't know, maybe women are going to get rougher and tougher, but remember what you eat can make a big difference. If you're eating things that aren't in harmony with your body, you can be doing a disservice to your body. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. We have to be smart about this. We have to be smart about it, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and keep moving, changing the narrative. Some of the other things about changing the narrative when it comes to eating is to get away from breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We talked about earlier who discovered that and why they discovered that. But when it comes to breakfast, lunch, and dinner, what we want you to do, and here's the idea, eat according to what you're doing. So if you're eating breakfast, for instance, and you have a job that you're going out and doing construction work, you're going to work on the street, you're going to build a skyscraper, or you might be on something that you're burning a lot of energy. Now, your food should not be the same amount of food as maybe a teacher that's more cerebral, that's going to be teaching computer science. No, because they're not lifting anything. And if they're not lifting anything, then they're not burning as much energy. If you are an exercise instructor, a trainer, or something, somebody that's doing physical things, you should have a balance of those things that you're eating in order to do those things that your career or your position requires, right? Makes sense? So in other words, the same thing when you get ready to go to bed. Dinner should never, ever be eaten in the evening. Remember, that's your last meal. I know people have been saying it for years, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But when we're talking about the P&L, which stands for plant nutrient lifestyle, we're talking about eating in accordance to what you will do and what you're doing, okay? So all of that food, when we eat all that food and then go to bed, again, remember, it has to be broken down. It's digesting. And when it is digesting, we are using more heart time up, a very active heart and very active brain waves. And this at the wrong time can be quite detrimental to the human body. Let's look at some other things. Drink 8 glasses of water a day. Well, a lot of people say, I drink 8 glasses, or I want to get up to 8 glasses. Some people, they just drown themselves in water because they think if they drink, the more, the better. But then they end up with polyuresis, and that means that they use the bathroom a lot. They just constantly going to use to urinate. And then you have the other things like nocturia, or like using the bathroom at night. So the at night means that you're going to interrupt sleep. And if you interrupt sleep, that means that your body can't heal the way that it should heal. If your body isn't healing the way that it should heal, what is it going to do? It's going to make you more vulnerable for illness and disease, such as insomnia, even sleepiness, when you're just sleepy and drowsy, unless you have some kind of disorder like narcolepsy, then you are sleepy. That is a disorder. So here I'm going to move so you can see that word sleep. See that? Eat, sleep, code. Well, sleep is super important for your body to rest. And when your body rests, this means that it can rejuvenate, it can reset itself, it can refresh itself. So these are some very important moves, right? Okay, so let's move along to how much water should I drink then? Well, the water that you drink should be enough to keep you from being thirsty. Make a goal every day to drink 8 ounces, but let's say even this better more. If you're drinking through the day and you're going to eat according to those eating times that we talked about earlier, you can also add to those eating times your drinking times. And drinking 30 minutes before you eat is ideal. But if you eat and drink at the same time, this is also acceptable because you're still getting hydrated as we are speaking about now. Okay, so get that water in. Have a cutoff time for water, just like we had a cutoff time for solids. The cutoff time for water should be 3 to 4 hours before you retire to sleep. Okay, very, very important. So keep that in mind. Okay, what else is out there that's trending and has been for the longest? Now, let's talk about a little bit about, we talked about digestive regulation or bowel movement. This is super important, everybody, because when you are a person that eats throughout the day and you're not having a bowel movement, that means that it's staying inside of your body and you're not getting the proper evacuation of those that waste. So we want to get rid of the waste because actually getting rid of the waste, it really secures our health. It keeps us healthy. So you want to be sure that you are using the restroom about the same time every day. If you're eating like a very light meals, you'll see that you'll change from that frequent bowel movement to less frequent because you're eating smaller meals. If you're eating large meals and you're eating them frequently, like 4 to 5 meals a day, and you have a lot of food there, then you can expect to defecate more often. It's very important that you do this because when you don't do this, what happens, the toxins are absorbed by your blood system, and then we have a situation called septicemia. Okay, and sepsis, you heard that word before, right? Sepsis. Now, sepsis is when you absorb the toxins from the waste. And waste, if it's around in your body, remember, and you're not getting rid of that, you are now vulnerable and you have a higher risk for disease and illness. Wow. Let's remind everybody again, I'm Dr. Farid Zarif, your host, and this is the AAECF Inc. channel. Again, that's AAECF Inc. INC channel, or incorporated, of course. So we want to make sure that you get the word out to your friends. We have one more wonderful show coming up next Friday, and we're going to wrap all of this up and see how much you've put into motion. So that's what's really important. One of the things that I want you to take away from today's lesson is balance. Balance is the key, because when you're eating a balanced meal, by the way, let's change that too. Oh man, we have to take time just to relearn all of this because they've used so many. When I say they, I mean the teachers, I mean the people that write the books, the scientists, I mean the politicians, all of them, when they've taught us to eat this via the displays on TV, the commercials, the billboards, all of this stuff. And we just say, okay, breakfast is the meal of champions. All of that stuff is here, right? Breakfast is the meal of champions. Good. Can you finish that? Can you finish this one? Ho, ho, ho. Yeah? Okay. Can you finish there? See, the reason we know all of those things by heart, because we have them in our face every single day. Today is even less. Well, we kind of think that they're less, but they're just getting to us in other ways, but they're still there. Do you know that there are some companies that make so much, their profit is so high that they can invest $1 million for every hour in a day? Yeah, that's quite amazing, isn't it? Did you know that there are some companies that can invest $1 million every minute in the day, not every hour, every minute? Because I think I said hour at first. Every minute. That's really incredible, right? So we are shopping and choosing food as we're shopping. And every time we shop and we pick up something, we purchase something, that stands as a vote for that particular food. So if we want to get these foods out of our local markets, all of these canned foods, all of these foods that are refined. Refined means that you're changing the texture, the color, changing the appearance of something and taking out the nutrients. So these are things that we need to work on. And I know it's like, oh, man, I'm tired, but excuse me. But when you do this, it will change how you look at that supermarket, because the supermarket is actually run by the people. And if we run that, then we can get those people that are shopping, that are selecting the foods for us to select what we like. But if we continue just buying all of those syrupy sodas, all of those dried up, and refined cereals, all of that. One time I bought some, this has been a long time ago, but some raisins, the bran flakes and the raisins that go with it. And I ate that, and I thought I bit into a rock. It was like, I was like, my eyes just, wow. It was, it was like, I'm like, man, what is this? Do you know that they have blueberry muffin mix that doesn't have one blueberry in it? And the reason I bring this up is because since we're talking about grocery shopping, read and make sure that what is in that box is what they say that's in that box. Now, it's against the law to list something that isn't in an ingredient. And they have laws to protect us as far as what is in the ingredient and how much of it. So we still need to take on the responsibility of selecting the foods that are best for us. Okay. Again, everybody, this is really, really a great show. I'm so thankful that AAECF Inc. is bringing this wonderful presentation with nutrition. I mean, this is something that we don't get in school. This is something that doctors don't get in school. So we want to make sure that you are taking note and that you're spreading this news so that you can help people all around your family. Spread it, but make sure you're first. You are first. Lastly, let's make this kitchen. The kitchen that you're in should actually be your medicine cabinets, not the food cabinets. You can have food in them, but they should be medicine cabinets. What do I mean by that? Is that you should have the food that you're eating should also be your medicine. So we'll be talking more about some of the things. I know many people feel that herbs are, yes, herbs are very effective, but guess what? So is spinach, so is jicama, broccoli, asparagus, red, white, green, all of these different beautiful colors, orange, black, brown, all of these are healthy foods, okay? So raw nuts are the best way to eat nuts. Do not eat the nuts that have been roasted and those that have been sprinkled with salt. I'm sure that you're getting fat and you're getting that salt together and it's hard. I bet you can't eat one. You remember that commercial? I bet you just can't eat one. But when I was coming up, there was a commercial. I believe, I know now in my mind, but I'm just not going to do any commercials for anybody. But there was potato chips, which, believe it or not, most people that I've met that are transitioning from one habit to another, that is, they're eating more of the foods that are healthy for them. One of the last foods that they get rid of are chips. And chips are not healthy at all for your colon. So make sure that you are taking responsibility to get rid of the stuff that isn't helping you. It doesn't make sense. Colorectal cancer is high on the rise, along with other cancers, but colorectal cancer is second to smoking. We got to do something about that. Why do we have colorectal cancer? Well, I might not know exactly. There may be some little scientific something that I'm missing. But beyond that, I do know, according to all of the studies that I've read, and you can search for yourself the studies on colorectal cancer. Out of all those studies, they and all other digestive disorders, food is directly connected with that particular disease. Food. And we're going to talk more about why people make these selections, but we're making these selections mainly because they become our belief system. And what we believe has been that's a result of what our original thought was shaped into. So we take our original thought and then environment and ads and our celebrities and all the people that convince us to eat that particular product, then we believe it. When we believe it, it becomes our truth. And when it becomes our truth, it heals our reality. It's incredible, isn't it? So food is no joke. George Bernard Shaw said that the love for food, there is no love. Yeah, he said there is no love that's more sincere than the love for food. Check it out. And that is definitely the truth. Okay, everybody, this has been really, really wonderful. 1 hour of power. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Dr. Farid Zarif. You can check on other things that I did just by simply searching. It's really important that you spread the news to your families. Keep in mind to leave comments. We're just doing something that we can help our community and to rise above mediocrity. We don't have to suffer. We can eat better foods. We can make better decisions. And in doing that, we'll make ourselves a healthier people. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, everybody that have contributed to this show to make it happen. Really appreciate you. Don't take you for granted. And we'll be looking forward to seeing you next Friday, same time, same place. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your week.
The African American Educational and Cultural Festival Incorporated is a non-for-profit 501c3 organization composed of devoted, diverse, and ethnic members representing industry, government, education, finance, entrepreneurs, retirees, clergy, and civic and fraternal groups. It honors, embraces, celebrates, and pays tribute to the African American culture and its history. We promote, enhance, and educate persons from infancy to adulthood, increase cultural awareness, and thereby improve the total quality of life of persons in this community, state, and nation. We provide resources that conduct multiple programs that meet needs spanning 6 core focus areas: education, housing, health, employment, entrepreneurship, and advocacy to underserved communities. Our culture is blended by many cultures that are woven into a beautiful tapestry that is the African American culture. The distinct identity of the African American culture is rooted in the historical experiences of the African American people in the United States. We utilize a grassroots effort, multimedia, and any means necessary to get the message out, uplift, and to stabilize the citizens. Since diversity is one of our nation's strengths, we wish to build our youth into stronger citizens who are aware and sensitive to differences and capable of constructive expression of dissimilar opinions. Our focus here at the AAECF Incorporated is giving a hand up, not a handout, by educating, embracing, celebrating, and paying tribute to the African American education, culture, and history. You can visit us at aaecfinc.org, or you can call us at 631-208-1739. You can also email us at aaecfinc@gmail.com, or you can write us at P.O. Box 1730, Riverhead, New York, 11901.